minute, my world is spinning. There is something I need to know. Oh, but I know love when I see it. But you don't have to go home, you can stay tonight. We can keep on vibing till the morning light.
Hi everyone, my name is Coco45 and I am back with episode 5 of the Making of a Castle series. For those of you who are new, be sure to go back through previous episodes to catch up with where we are now. Last week I added some roofing to the turrets of our castle, put in skylights, all sorts of fun details, and I enjoyed it so much. And today we're doing something even more fun. I am doing the roof over the center of the castle. Now, I wanted to do this separately because I'll be adding some special detail to this part of the roof that no other part will have, and it has a very special component that I wanted to talk about separate from other things. I'm currently just shaping the dome roof of the castle, and this took the longest of the entire recording session, and that is unfortunately because I freehanded the shape of the middle piece, which means I can't use any sort of software to generate a perfect pixelated dome and have it match the shape of the rest of the castle. So I'm kind of stuck freehanding the roof as well. And you'll see me backing up quite a bit to look at the build, and this is something I want to touch on real quick. A lot of people forget to do this sometimes, and they'll get very hyper-focused on little details, and while these little details are just as important as any other part of the build, making sure it looks the way you want it to from afar is also pretty important. Right now, I do it to check the shape of the dome and make sure it doesn't look too pointy or too square, which is very hard in an entirely cube-based game. And while this is important, the main idea of today's video is giving your build a story, and I talked about this a little bit last episode, but today I'll be touching on it a lot more. And the story can be a few things. It can literally be a story about how a dragon used to live in the castle protecting a princess, but it can also be a little less fantasy themed even. The detailing is what will tell the story the most. Building a perfectly clean castle with simple straight bushes and no vines covering the walls is going to make it look like a new, very clean castle. And building a castle and giving it crumbling walls and covering it with overgrown plants is going to make it look old and abandoned. And I think this is the part that people struggle with the most in the building. Detailing is something a lot of people can figure out, but the appropriate time and where to put the detailing to match their vision is what they struggle with. Many people see a pretty detail on another build and add it to theirs even if it doesn't necessarily fit because it looks good and they can do it. And it may not fit. No matter how good it looks, it won't look good in that build. And luckily, it's not hard to figure out what does belong on your build. The best way is to pick a theme and stick with it. An abandoned castle is not going to look abandoned if everything is perfectly intact, bushes are trimmed, and no pipes are leaking. For inspiration, Google Images is your friend. Even a simple search like abandoned castle can be a great source of inspiration and ideas. And as always, you can narrow this down more with certain filters and things like that. That way you get more of what you're looking for. You can refine it to colors, themes, time period, anything you want. Now, I'm giving my castle a somewhat fantasy story, and it's very unique but not necessarily explanatory, meaning you may not understand it just by looking at it, and that's the point. I'm building a structure above the roof and it adds mystery to the build, and this is very good too. Leaving some things unexplained about your build will do wonders for the interest factor. Now, you don't want everything to be a complete mystery and make no sense whatsoever, but having the mysterious locked room in your castle makes sense. Having the plants that just somehow stay alive despite the rest of the castle being completely abandoned, that is kind of mysterious and magical, but it's not as strange as just an entire castle being perfectly clean and well kept despite being abandoned. Now that's all for today. I hope you enjoyed the video. Be sure to leave questions in the comments and I'll answer as many as I can. And as always, let me know how you're getting on with your castle. I'd love to hear it.